Morning, fourth graders. It's Mrs. Helene again. We're going to do a second lesson on character traits and evidence. If you remember yesterday's lesson, we were using the actions, the dialogue, the evidence of the character to pick an appropriate character trait, and we're going to work on that again today. We're doing historical fiction, and so I wanted to start out this lesson with a little bit of the nuts and bolts of what is historical fiction, because we haven't really talked about that yet. And then moving on, I would like to go to a different character besides Anne Marie and practice gathering character trait words that are appropriate for a new character. All right, let's talk about historical fiction. What really is historical fiction? Well, it's historical because it takes place in a time of history. Number the Stars is taking place in a real time in history, and we'll talk about that on the next slide. It's fiction because it's a story about a character who actually isn't real. In this story, Number the Stars, Anne Marie was a character that was made up by the author, and many of the happenings around her would have actually taken place in her city. So there are references to things that actually took place there, but unfortunately, Anne Marie was not a real person in real life. But the historical time period was real and true. So it gives us a window into a world of what was happening at that time period. Same with your I Survive book. Your I Survive book is historical fiction. Now let's look at why Number the Stars is historical fiction. Number the Stars by Lois Lowry is about a girl who lived in Denmark during World War II. World War II are the happenings of this story. And the character of Anne Marie is fiction. As I told you before, she's all made up. In a very real way, though, so it's hard to believe because she appears to be a real person, but she really wasn't a real person in time. The history, though, is real. It's very scary. The Nazi soldiers really did take over the city of Copenhagen in Denmark during the year 1943. And Anne Marie Johansson is a made-up character, a 10-year-old girl who lives in Copenhagen. She's faced with the knowledge that Nazis are beginning to relocate the Jews in her city. As you recall, when she went to the button shop, Mrs. Hirsch was missing and her shop was closed. And that was something to take note of because in that time period of history, the Nazis started to gather up any person who was a Jewish religion, faith, and relocate them. It's a very scary time. Ellen Rosen is a fictional character as well, but she is taking on the role of Anne Marie's neighbor, best friend, classmate, and it becomes more impressive and scary because Anne Marie's best friend, Ellen, is Jewish. So she starts to fear what is going to happen to her dear friend. Now, moving on to character traits. I want you to look at this character trait chart and pick a word for Anne Marie's little sister today. Her sister's name is Kirsty, and we all love Kirsty. I love Kirsty because when I read this story, I think about how sassy and funny and silly she is. I would love for you to pick a couple of words from this chart and see if you pick the same ones as me on the next slide. Here is a picture of some theater children who played these roles on stage. You can see Kirsty is the one in front of the Nazi soldier, Anne Marie holding her, and Ellen clutching her arm. Okay, let's talk about character traits for Kirsty. What did you pick? Did you pick bold and sassy like me? I did because she yells at the soldiers without any fear. Did you pick innocent? Or maybe another word for that would be naive? Or maybe another word for that would be not caring or not understanding? She just doesn't realize that the soldiers are a threat at all. She doesn't mind talking sassy to them, or she doesn't really fear them. Another great word for Kirsty is selfish. She is only 5 years old after all. She interrupts a lot and she just wants what she wants. And that's why we giggle a lot when we hear what Kirsty has to say. Okay, fourth graders. So your task today is to find this sheet in your character traits packet that we sent home with you. We want you to pick a new character from your I Survive book and find 3 appropriate character trait words with some evidence from the story. Also, draw a picture of what you think that character looks like. Make sure it's not the same character as yesterday's response. Take a picture of it and upload it to your Reading Google Doc. Good luck.